Do you find yourself conflicted about current events and society and perhaps wondering that society is so sick with the whole chaos happening and you confused about how things are going to transform or where society is going to as a whole? Well, we have answers. And if you're thinking that some people perhaps may have to pass away or be removed from the equation before things get better, then you're probably right or wrong. Let us explain. Greetings, everyone. We are Trace Scorch, and we have come with answers. It's sufficient to call us Trace Baba, as many do already. I will just go right into it. It's interesting how it's been over 3 months since we did this. That's because we've been working on our internal mechanism, and this is part of the information we want to share with everyone that's listening. Currently, it seems like the world is focused in a direction for war. You're even hearing rumors of nuclear war and many of all these dysfunctional shenanigans, but it's not new news that society is very sick. And before things can transform, yes, indeed, there's certain people that must be taken away from the equation, but that doesn't mean that it should result into violence or war. We need to develop tolerance for one another, and that tolerance comes by us being patient with a certain generation who are still stuck in the old paradigm, who are expecting things to continue the way it has always been because it's more convenient or it's something that they are used to. And we have to be tolerant enough to wait till they fade away. And then it will be time for our generation to then usher in the light and then design the future or the present moment as it is, the way we see fit. But in order for us to do that without repeating the woes of the past, we need to come from a more evolved mindset. And that evolved mindset takes a lot of discipline that a lot of people are not currently imbued in right now. So now is the time for each and everyone to start developing themselves and giving themselves the ability or the opportunity to evolve. And that evolution comes by being tolerant, being patient, being kind to yourself, doing the hard things. And often people think that it's difficult to be angry and to be violent or to crash. But what is really difficult is being kind when people have betrayed you. What is difficult to do is smiling despite how traumatizing society has become. What is really hard to do is becoming tolerant with one another. We keep saying this word because that's the countenance of a more evolved mindset. Like we've shared, and most of everything that we've been discussing about is the evolution of the human mind. And it's something that many don't really speak about because there is nothing to compare it with. And this is something that came through from our personal experience, else we too wouldn't know about this. And because of how sensitive this dialogue or this information is, there are certain things that we wouldn't share at this time. Earlier we mentioned that there's a sound vibration that you have to mention in order to activate your mentality to start acclimating to this new modality of your brain. Start getting yourself hardwired to an evolved mindset, which would include awakening your pineal gland and your pituitary gland. Now, it doesn't just start and stop at the saying of this sound vibration. There's also a discipline, there's also the wanting, there's also the desiring of that state of mind. It's like we've mentioned before, a caterpillar evolved into a butterfly during the metamorphosis process. And we are certain that humans go through the same process. However, we're not certain that all humans have this ability, but we believe that all humans have this ability. And it takes a while to build in, and this is why we're giving more opportunity to the children to start developing this modality in their mental framework. Because something that happened or what we experience, it's easy for us to acclimate that it also applies to everyone. But we're trying to see perhaps it's something that's only applicable to old soul, perhaps it's only applicable to certain people with certain belief system. Because if you do not believe that you are one with everything, then you are not going to be one with everything. Because reality is by design, is based on your own operating system. And what we've noticed is that a lot of people are moving around this planet with outdated operating system. Hence why they're having a lot of friction, because you're operating this realm from a state of mind that doesn't really necessarily work or that is not optimal anymore. So in order to optimize your experience, you need to evolve your mindset. This discipline comes with being patient, kind, taking things one step at a time, following the path of least resistance despite doing the quote-unquote hard things like forgiving people, not complaining all the time, not even being angry when you have to react or response with something that is aggressive, you call yourself back. And this thing starts by you being patient with yourself, going through the meditation process. Our experience might be different from someone else's, but we had to go through the process of where we had to sit alone in silence for a long period of time, avoid all of the distraction, and then build from ourselves, from our energy centers within, while maintaining that state of mind that we want to attain this higher level of consciousness. Now, to many people, they don't know what it looks like. And that's where you be coming. We can give you an idea so you can have something to work with. You have something to cognize in, and then start actually getting this attributes and this countenance of an evolved mindset by cognizing it, by embracing it, by performing it, like pretend to be an evolved human being, and then you will be. And this idea of being evolved means having tolerance for a lot of people, being loving to yourself, being kind, being patient. We keep saying this because it's easier to say but difficult to perform, because if someone push your button, many of you are quick to react and spaz and crash and shout and get aggressive. And this is the time that you need to start building that state of countenance where you're more patient and more loving and understanding of other people, that they are doing the best with what they have. A lot of people are not informed as you are. A lot of people don't have access to this information. A lot of people are not aware that the mind has a process of metamorphosis where it evolves into something magnificent. And we're going to share certain attributes of that magnificence from our personal experience. But first, have you noticed that there are certain images from the past that perhaps when you look at these images, it just seems like a picture, but there's certain people in the past that have experienced certain things that we are sharing, including the one you call Jesus, including the one you call Elijah, and a lot of people that are not actually in the record history book, and a lot of people in the ancient Kemet, Africa, Egypt. A lot of ancient people went through this process and they understand it. It's a state of being that is part of human experience. However, you have free will to choose to be one with everything, or to choose to have this mundane perception of reality. Now, we're going to show you an image, and we're going to expand further on this image. Certain things tell us not to even share this information, because there are people who know what we're talking about and they actually don't want this for humanity. You have seen this picture before, yes? By Michelangelo. Now, when you look at this image, you can see a hand stretching from the pineal gland to the other evolved human being. This is the brain, and this hand pressing out from the pineal gland to this other. They say it's the creation of Adam, but what we see it as is the activation of the higher state of mind. Because from our experience, say there's a part of the human brain when you start going through this evolutionary practice that your pituitary gland tries to connect to your pineal gland. It is something that you can feel mentally in your brain, that a part of your hippocampus is moving somewhere towards inside your pineal gland, and both parts are trying to touch. This sounds fringe, it sounds fictional, but we guarantee you that this is real, and from personal experience, allegedly, for certain educational purposes. That we're saying allegedly, but it is not alleged. This is factual. Now, there's this part of your brain that decides to connect to another part of your brain inside, and you can feel that magnetic connection within your brain when you go into that meditative state, or when you activate it simply by pressing the lower top of your tongue to the roof of your tongue, and this process starts. Now, understanding that that's a part of the human experience, is it not strange how this picture comes about? Now you start looking at the image differently, because you understand that there's a part of the human brain that tries to connect with one other part to the other part. So now looking at that image, you have a different interpretation, don't you? So now that interpretation came about from our personal experience, from our personal exploration of the human mind. Now, this is certain things that you start looking at your reality different when your mind awakens to the possibility or to the potential that you are indeed magnificent and you're one with all things. And that is what apparently creates this omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient state of being where you just feel there's no word to describe what we're saying. It's an ecstatic state of being, and you're just in ecstasy. Divine ecstasy, and you're wrapped in a golden light. Many will call it the light body, many call it in the biblical terms called the Merkaba. Now, understanding that this exists, A lot of humans are not walking around with a golden light around their body. A lot of humans don't have this countenance. And if we tell you that, what do you think that the future of humans is going to be? And if we tell you that in the future, humans are going to be a whole lot kind to each other. And the way things are going to transform is not by fighting one final war or trying to get rid of certain people in order for society to become this utopia. It's going to come about by humans choosing to actually be tolerant and patient with one another. The human nature that you're aware of, that people get aggressive, is just going to fade away when there are a lot of more people who are kind, more intelligent, and more grounded, more balanced. They have this mastery about them. It's kind of like seeing 1 million Jesus Christ walking around. Suddenly, the reality starts to morph and change into this utopia. And that's how society is going to change. It's not going to change by people fighting extra wars. A lot of people think that, oh, until they take out the enemy and do this and blow up this place, perhaps things are going to change, or you change the energy grid. No, it's not going to change that way. It's going to change by humans choosing to adapt into a higher state of being. It's going to change by humans choosing to becoming more evolved, more ecstatic, more intelligent. And that state of, it takes that practice that each and every one have to go through that process of first desiring it, cognizing it, and then applying that characteristics, those attributes of an evolved person, and then moving without countenance, which would then inspire other people to do the same. And this is the way it's going to be, but it's not going to happen suddenly. And we have at least perhaps close to a decade for other people to start the process. This is why we say we have to be patient for a certain generation to fade away, so then our generation can usher in this light. But you wouldn't be able to usher in this light in the future if you haven't gone through that process right now. So right now, if you're wondering how you're going to do something about society, or you're concerned that society is sick, or that this is going wrong and this is going wrong, there's so much chaos around, all you need to do right now is to start working on developing yourself to become more evolved. And meditating, patience with yourself, being kind to yourself, your internal monologue. For instance, our personality state of being right now, once we close our eyes, there's a feeling of peace and serenity that just comes washing over our body instantly. And this comes about us doing the work from many years, since 2016. So it doesn't just come about by you being what you've always been. You cannot become something else by being what you always are. And you can't take your time trying to wake everyone else. It's difficult or almost impossible to wake someone that is pretending to be asleep. So you need to just focus your time on yourself, on developing yourself. Give yourself that practice and see what triggers you. See when you go about your experience on a day-to-day basis, and see how people get to you. Perhaps a crazy driver on the street, and how you respond, or people, how quick you get aggressive based on if things are not going your way. You start paying attention to how you respond to certain stimulus, how you respond when things are not going your way, how you respond when things are in favor, how you respond when people say certain sound vibrations to you. These are the things that you start practicing. It takes a long while, and this is why we encourage each and everyone to meditate. There's a lot of things that are going to take shape by the year 2030. A lot of people are not ready for it. A lot of new technologies will be coming forth. There's one coming forth that's called the quantum lens. There are people working on it right now, and many people won't understand what it works, but it's a function that gives humans the ability to see multidimensional energies, seeing things like what you call gravity. Once humans are able to perceive those non-physical aspects of their reality, like I say, humans can only see less than 1% of the visible light spectrum. Imagine once humans have the ability to wear a lens like one I'm wearing, and they have the ability to see beyond the visible light spectrum that they weren't privy to. Imagine how a lot of things are going to change as a result. Now, in that change, or in that transformation, the countenance of an evolved state of being is necessary in order to channel that evolution or that future into a more benevolent state of being. And this is where we all come in by doing the work right now. It probably will take you about 5, 6, 7 years to get to that state of being where you are one with everything, or when at least you're perceiving yourself as one with everything. There's a state of mind that comes that you know, if we have evidence of your divinity. A lot of people right now think that they have to kneel down and pray to God, not understanding that they are a version of that God that they are looking for. But unless you start cognizing those rapport with your divine enigma, perhaps, then you start getting a glimpse of it. A lot of things start changing. You stop aging. you start living longer. You're just always excited and ecstatic and happy. Your dreams start changing. A lot of things start happening in your dreams. I'll give you a few examples of things that have been happening in our dream. A few time ago, some months ago, we had a dream where we were speaking to people about the evolutionary state of humans and how the people who created the first aeroplane, they didn't just come about the ideas by themselves. The Wright brothers, a lot of people had that intelligence to be working on the same technology of the airplane at the same time. So if they didn't do it, someone else will do it. And there's a state of being that comes over humans as a collective where you start becoming creative and intelligent enough to start creating new technology. And that system, that paradigm is about to come across humans once again, where a lot of people are getting new novel ideas and creative about how we can push the paradigm a little bit more further. And in order to start getting these downloads or these ideas or this creative awareness, it starts by you attuning yourself to that state of frequency where you can then attract those type of mindset or those type of ideas. And you're not going to attract those kind of ideas by being who you've always been. You have to give yourself time to change. Just how your body, your parasympathetic nervous system switches when you're, for instance, when you eat something, your body switches when you're digesting. So your mind, your modality changes its operation because you're in the digestive mode. And when you're not eating and you're fasting, your body changes to start perhaps eating itself or start healing itself. So when you take the break from what you've always been doing, your regular routine, and then you start practicing or start cognizing this evolutionary status to becoming an evolutionary being, then your mind starts transforming, starts hardwiring itself to adapt to all these higher energies, higher frequencies, because your mind is a transducer. It starts feeding in and starts downloading perhaps all this higher awareness, and you must give yourself that permission or that opportunity in order to be one of those pioneers who are going to be able to download this new technology and information in the future. Now, all of what we've shared, we had a dream where we were speaking something like that, closely similar to what we've just shared. Perhaps we're seeing into the future and we're doing it right now. But that's a preview of what you become capable of. This is just a little inch of things that happen when your mind starts going through this process of evolution. Another dream we had, which was very even so profound, and from that we'll share the announcement and end this broadcast. We had a dream where we had the meeting with some certain director or different people. They were trying me to read a script or whatever, and I had to go into this Zoom call with someone, perhaps a producer or someone else, but it seems like it's a corporate body. And someone walked to me and said, is there any activism behind your incredibly offensive music? Is there any activism behind your incredibly offensive music? And we burst out laughing that we actually laughed our way back into our waking state. And that, to me, that's the highest compliment that I've received. And I'm thinking that should there be some activism behind this incredibly magnificent music? Because I don't know, is that how people think about the songs that we make? That is incredibly offensive. That would be amazing that some people are offended by this beautiful sound vibration that we're creating. But isn't that interesting? And a lot of people, I'm sure you have a lot of different profound dreams, but there are times where your mind starts creating things where you see the future and you already know what to expect. We've had many experiences like that where we saw our present day through the dream. We already lived that experience. So when we woke up, everything was just like we're performing because we've already lived through that whole experience in our dream state. So these are certain examples of how your brain starts co-creating reality once you adapt to the idea that you're one with all things. You're not separate from anyone else. You start seeing things from the eye of what you call God. Now, there's a lot of interesting analysis, and we'll be sharing more, but I want you to think about these things and think about if it's something that you desire. Would you like to stop aging, live very long, very healthy, ecstatic, happy all the time, getting information, getting new idea, new technology, always being at peace with yourself, suddenly having doors open to you without you even doing much? Looking magnificent, always beautiful, always handsome, and everything is just working out for you. It's just beautiful. Life just becomes like a play, and you are the director and the protagonist of this magnificent, the magnificent story that you're living. And this is where you start now by working on yourself and doing that. Because while we're sharing this, is that coming forward, we'll be sharing some of our disciplines on how you can start cognizing the state of being But first, you need to have the desire to. Is it something you want? Are you interested in trying to awaken your what you call third eye, which is the first eye? Are you interested in becoming one with everything? Do you see everyone as a part of yourself? Are you interested in making reality so much more enjoyable for yourself and others? Do you want to be a pathway to show others the light? Do you want to enjoy your experience without having too many friction? Then these are the things that you start